the variety of sounds on that track alone was so impressive to me. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I'm going to be listening to the album The End So Far from the band Slipknot. Now this is to date Slipknot's most recent album. It was just released and I am so excited to give this one a listen. I've been doing a little Slipknot album reaction series here on my channel over the course of the past few months, and I have really gotten into this band. I've grown to love their music. The most recent album of theirs that I've heard is We're Not Your Kind, which I really enjoyed. It went in kind of like a electronic direction a bit with its sound, very atmospheric and almost cinematic sounding. So I'm just really intrigued to check out The End So Far and just see where Slipknot's going to take their sound on this newest album of theirs. So getting us started with track 1, we have Adderall. Definitely not a sound I was expecting right off the start here. Okay, this song is taking some interesting turns. It's got a bit of a groove to it almost. Kind of funky. And then you've got that piano too. There's almost like an orchestral vibe to this song. There's so many elements going on to this song. There's a lot of layers. It's got a very calming sound to it though. So I guess that was our introduction to The End So Far. That was track 1, Adderall. Frankly, with a track name like that, I was expecting that song to just be really manic and intense and crazy with its sound, and it was actually the opposite. That was very smooth and melodic, and it almost put you into this sort of trance. I really liked all of the choral chanting and stuff they had infused in the background, and Corey's vocals on that one were very melodic as well, just really beautiful. But up next is track 2, which is called The Dying Song, Time to Sing.
Let your mouth go sick and dry. Sing till you die. Die.
Yeah, here comes the heaviness for sure. This one's bringing that awesome Slipknot punchiness that I love. Is there like some really faint growling sounds in the background? I think that's what I keep hearing. All of the percussive stuff on this track is really fun. There's a lot of variety going on. I love all of the electronic sounds. They're just enough of a presence to kind of change up the sound of this album a little bit. Well, that was track 2, The Dying Song, Time to Sing. Definitely bring in some more punchiness, that awesome heavy sound that Slipknot does so well. I loved the percussion on that one. Definitely some unexpected stuff though. Like Corey's vocals kind of maintained, again, more of a smoothness, a melodicness on the chorus of that track. It kind of balanced out the heaviness with a sort of futuristic, lighter sounding element to that song. All right, moving on to track 3, we have the Chapeltown Rag. It's kind of cool. It's almost like that last track, The Dying Song, it sounded like it was decelerating at the end, and then just now the beginning of this one, it was almost like it got turned on again. Alright, and then we've got Sade bringing in his awesome turntable effects here. It is. It's almost like this song kind of decelerates a bit and then it powers on again. It's got this really interesting rhythm to it. His vocals are just so rich and deep.
I'm a threat, I'm afraid that you will never understand. I'm not the same. I'm afraid, I'm afraid.
I just got goosebumps.
When everything is gone, yeah.
That was track 3, the Chapeltown Rag. I love how it started, really atmospheric, and Corey's vocals really threw me there at the start, how deep they were. I also thought it was really interesting toward the end there, he was just bringing so much intensity, almost a rage to his voice, and just the sound of the song was so intense. And then right when he started saying, I'm afraid, and kind of admitting that there's a certain level of like vulnerability and weakness in him, the song almost took on that quality, and it got a lot quieter and more reined in, and again more atmospheric there toward the very end. Just kind of cool how they mimicked like the lyrics with the sound of the song. But continuing on now with track 4, we have Yen. Kind of a weird ambient start to this one. It almost sounds like a fire crackling or something.
You're the sin that I've been waiting for. Are you hurting me? Let me savor what I'm waiting for. Will you breathe for me? Let the night go in.
Yeah, this track is right up my alley. I absolutely love how they took it from that really atmospheric, restrained beginning, and now they've just brought so much of an impact on the chorus here.
Surge of panic, zeal, worry when it's not a fact.
And then just like that, they bring it right back into this more reined in, kind of ominous sounding verse. There's so many just really unexpected noises on this album. See, it's like this song is just suddenly lifted up out of that dark intensity. Like all of the brutalness is going on, and then there's a sort of lightness that they infuse. Well, that was track 4, Yen. That one was honestly a fusion of everything I really love from Slipknot. I really like when they do a lot of atmospheric stuff that's really reined in, and they have kind of a contained, sort of creepy sound to them. And the beginning of that track had that in spades. I loved the atmosphere they created. But then they brought that awesome intensity too. I just loved the fusion of those two elements. Alright, up next is track 5, which is called Hive Mind. Again, such a weird start to this one. I love how it's called Hive Mind, and this sound right here almost sounds like a bee buzzing and flying around. Again, such a great transition from his really seething, intense vocals and then kind of a more smooth melodic vocal delivery on the chorus. You gotta love that percussion. It's just such a constant stream of noise. Well, that was track 5, Hive Mind. I loved the weird electronic sounds and things they were infusing on that one. They're definitely still utilizing a lot of electronic tones that they really embraced on We Are Not Your Kind. I think with We Are Not Your Kind, they kept things really atmospheric and a little bit more pulled in. It almost had like a cinematic quality to it. And I'd say the end so far, they're just kind of bringing a slightly more punchy quality to the sound of this album. But moving on to track 6, we have Warranty.
Isn't this what you came here for? Well, that is what you came here for.
So you have all of this really intense percussion and then that sound effect going on.
Another
Okay, now we have some electric guitar here, kind of infusing a bit of smoothness. It kind of breaks up all of that really intense staccato percussion going on.
Break down, don't adjust.
Again, it kind of sounds like it decelerated or something there. Alright, and now they're bringing back those choral elements too. Bit of a funky ending to that one with that change up on the percussion and then his laughing. But that was track 6, Warranty. Again, so much variety with that one. They were throwing a lot of unexpected sounds. I think Sid and Craig and what they add to Slipknot's sound, I honestly think is like a huge factor in what makes Slipknot's music so unique. Alright, up next is going to be track 7, which is Medicine for the Dead. I love how all of these tracks are starting, just so funky, with a heavy electronic element to them. Right, see, it's accelerating again. Oh yeah. There's almost like a chimey sound to the percussion on this one. It's giving it a sort of light tone. And now there's like a really intense kind of warbly electronic sound too going on. So many sounds, man, the variety is insane. A lot of times there's a sort of cold, clangy, industrial sound to Slipknot's music, like especially on Iowa. But on this album, they're fusing on a lot of stuff that is kind of warm with its sound. The chimes, the piano, the choral arrangements. Well, that was track 7, Medicine for the Dead. Just 6 minutes of pure awesomeness, in my opinion. The variety of sounds on that track alone was so impressive to me. I love how it started off just really pulled in, and then it was almost like they turned something on or it started to accelerate, and then it just brought so much intensity and aggression to it. Just absolutely awesome. But up next is track 8, which is called Acidic. There is definitely a lot of cohesion on this album with how these tracks start. They all have this really kind of eerie electronic pulled in beginning to them. This is an interesting one. At times there's almost like this twanginess, kind of a funkiness to it. And then you got the electric guitar. And then they just taper all the intensity off right into this really restrained part here. You see what I mean? There's almost like this grooviness, like almost a jazzy quality to this song. That was track 8, Acidic. Kind of a strange one, not gonna lie, and I mean that as a compliment, just extremely varied with its sound. Like, it was so heavy and intense with its delivery, but there was this weird twanginess that almost gave it like a country vibe at certain points. I can't really describe it any other way. And then there was kind of a funkiness too going on in the background, sort of a jazzy quality, but then all of the electronic stuff would come in and it gave it such a futuristic tone. Alright, up next is track 9, which is called Heirloom. I love how this track started off with such a lightness to the percussion, and then it just brought so much heaviness to it. I think this track has noticeably less electronic stuff on it. I love that tambourine, kind of an unexpected sound. Track 9, Heirloom. I think that was the first song on this album that had less variety going on. It did, don't get me wrong. I was still picking up on that. I loved when like the percussive elements would kind of change up on that one. But in terms of like the electronic stuff and just really throwing some crazy sounds on there, that track I didn't notice it as much. I think it's kind of interesting too that it's called Heirloom and it almost sounds like a track from one of their earlier albums maybe. I don't know, for some reason that one just didn't really sound like it fit on this album, but I enjoyed it though. It had a great, really smooth quality to it, and that percussion with the guitars was just awesome on that track. But up next is track 10, which is called H377. Man, that percussion has such a big energy to it. Okay, this one's bringing the intensity, that's for sure. Corey's vocals are so rapid on this one. Some funky, like, distorted electric guitar, it sounds like. Well, that was track 10, H377. The intensity on that one was insane. I absolutely loved it. I think that is maybe the song that has gone the hardest on this album so far. It did have that really atmospheric start, and then that percussion was introduced, and it just had such a big sound to it. And then it pretty much just took off from there and never stopped. That one was just like absolutely blistering with its delivery. I loved the intensity of it. All right, up next is track 11, which is called Sade. There's something about the electronic elements of this album that sometimes remind me of LD50 by Mudvayne. The start of this track is kind of giving me those vibes. There's some effects in the background. It almost sounds like someone screaming very faintly. Man, this one has a really great smoothness to it, like especially with his vocals. Okay, I just said that about his vocals retaining a sort of smoothness, and now they're changing it up a bit. And then this electric guitar is kind of pulling this song up a bit. Like you have this really intense percussion and vocal delivery, and then the electric guitar just kind of brings a sort of airiness, like a lightness to the sound. And now again, it's almost like the song is decelerating here at the end. Well, that was track 11, Sade. I really liked the smoothness to that one. It had a very streamlined quality to its sound. And again, with all of the infusions of the electronic stuff, it's just really cool. And then they did bring some more intensity there toward the end, but they kept it so cohesive. Like they layered all of those parts together so incredibly well. But I am very intrigued to see how they're going to close this album out. So moving on to track 12, we have Finale. Man, I love the tone of this guitar here at the start. It's very rich and warm.
I know it's the same, it happens every day, 'cause I like it here. The sentiments, the sad things, I keep repeating older answers.
This one started out so calm and melodic, and it's almost like it's amping up. Like there's a sort of intensity that's building. That was unexpected. Again, they're kind of fusing on sonical themes that they've used throughout this album, like with that chorus and this chanting. Yeah, I love how they're pairing this really electronic tone with like borderline orchestral elements. Well, that was track 12, Finale, the final song on the end so far. I thought that was a great ending to this album, just in how it incorporated pretty much every element that they infused on this whole project. You had the electronic stuff, and then you had some orchestral sounds too. I loved how that track ended on those really like heavenly, angelic sounding vocals from the chorus, but then they brought in that awesome aggression too, and they just fused everything in such an amazing song. Somehow they made it all work, and I thought that was a great closer to the album. Well, that is going to conclude my reaction to The End So Far, the 7th studio album from the band Slipknot. I thought the variety of sounds that they utilized on this album was so impressive, very entertaining to listen to. I loved it from start to finish, but this album definitely kind of took things in a different direction with the more orchestral, kind of symphonic soundscape that they created with it. Definitely a new sound for Slipknot, which I really enjoyed. Upon first listen, I think the standout tracks for me, I loved the first one, Adderall, a very unexpected start to this album. Also track 7, Medicine for the Dead, I really liked the atmospheric quality of that one. And also H377, track 10, was just so intense with its delivery. That one was a huge standout as well. But yeah, I've really enjoyed diving into Slipknot's albums. All 7 of these I think are absolutely fantastic. They definitely bring something different to the table. I still have their debut album, Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, that doesn't have Corey on vocals. I have that to check out. I also might be doing a Slipknot album ranking here in the future, so that's something I've been thinking of too. And I also have Stone Sour to check out, which has Corey on lead vocals. So I still have a lot of Slipknot stuff to get into here on my channel. But yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.